Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. I'm here to talk about Ready to Love season 3, or is it season 4, casting special for Ready to Love Houston. Now, on the show this time, we have Nephew Tommy's wife, Miss Jacqueline. Now she's here hopefully to add a different perspective to the couples, or the soon-to-be couples on the show, or what's going on behind the scenes. So that is definitely going to give a different dynamic. Now, before I begin, I watched this special and I was looking at the men and the women, and there was 3 standouts of each that stood out to me. Now, are these couples ready to love, or are they ready to go? We'll find out. Let me put my glasses on for this one, for my top 3 men to watch out for, or to look out for in my opinion. So the first male we have is Joel. He's 42. He says he's ready to love, said he wants a person who can appreciate love. He appreciates love. He's ready to find that one person. Now, Joel, he is widowed. His wife passed away. They have 8-year-old twins, and he now wants to have someone who's going to not just love him, but have someone love his children more than they love him. Now, that's a good attribute to have. You know, you should have someone who is there for not just you, but you and your children, because you are a package. However, Joel says he's looking for an old lady. You dig? I was like, you dig, Joel? Okay, that's how you say. Now, he also says that he's old school at heart. He still likes him some Anita Baker, some Janet Jackson. Me too. And he says that he wants a partner who can accept his sense of humor, because a lot of people says he's got a dry sense of humor or take him as sarcastic, but he's not really that way, because he could be a comedian, if you say so. And he's looking for love. We'll see how this works out. I have my eye on him, and I think that maybe that people say he has a condescending or a sarcastic attitude. I can kind of see that, so we'll see how that works in his favor, or not. Next up for the men that has caught my eye for not necessarily the best reason is Diedrich. He is 47, he's a chef. Now, Diedrich says he's been married twice before. He has a 26 and a 21-year-old daughters, right? And he also says he has a 3-year-old grandchild. Now, part of the reason why he's ready to love is because he really, really wants a son. And I'm like, this is why you're on the show? Because you're ready to love and you really, really want a son? I personally think that contradicts each other. I think you either here for ready to love, and then eventually if you have children, that's a different scenario. So he says that if someone he's with isn't into having more children, then it's a done deal. There's nothing else to talk about. And I'm like, wow. So you've already set up, in my opinion, set yourself up for, if she's not wanting a child, you're out. That's not how this show is set up, in my opinion. It's not like, hey, are you ready to have a baby? Are you? Oh, you're not? Okay, next. Because what if these ladies on here don't want children? There's many women on this show this season that already have children. So maybe they're in a place in their life where they don't want anymore. So his time on the show could be limited depending on who he meets on here. I could be wrong. Now, the next up on the list for me is Troy. He's 51. He's a regional manager. Troy says he's been a bachelor all his life, and he just can't seem to figure out why he hasn't met the right woman. But at the same time, he says he keeps meeting people and women that he has no connection with. Now, which one is it? Are you not meeting people you have a connection with, or maybe the common denominator is you? Troy says he likes working out, he likes keeping up with his body. That's fine. And I notice all the men on this season too, they seem to like to work out, because in their promos, they're in the gym or running or doing something like that. So, okay, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I can appreciate that. But at the same time, Troy says that he prefers smaller, thin women. And then he goes on to say, I'm not particularly attracted to full-figured women. Okay, Troy. But then he corrected himself. It was like, oh, well, what I meant to say was, nope, what you meant to say was what you said the first time, so stick with it. And then Troy, it's nothing wrong with having swag and confidence, but Troy said that he is the best catch in Houston so far. Oh, okay, Troy. Well, we'll see how this works out for you too, since you have limited your selection and what you're not particularly looking forward to. Let's move on to the women, the top 3 that have caught my eye. The first one is Alexis. She's 35. Matter of fact, let me rephrase that. That's Alexis Fly Jones. My fault, Alexis. Alexis Fly Jones. She is now a news producer, and she was formerly married to a pastor. Now, Alexis says that she was married to the pastor, preacher, or whoever he was, and she said that she just could not get past not being number one. Now, I just don't understand this. If you're married to someone in the church and he's maybe the head of the church or something, he has a lot on his plate. But Alexa wanted to say that there was calls in the evening, the night, and separate times, even when they're sleeping together, that, he can't answer because he's with me. Okay. I mean, were you the first lady or not? But because, like I said, if you're with someone in the church and they pray for people and things like that, what do you think was going to happen? The phone's going to ring. He's needed at all types of the day or night for whatever reason. But maybe she actually alluded to maybe they was calling for different reasons. Now, Alexis is on the show again because she's ready to love. She wants someone to treat her like a queen. She wants to have a situation like The Notebook. You know the movie The Notebook where he sweeps her off her feet and he comes back to get her and like she's number one. So that's what she's looking for, and we'll have to see if she finds that in the house. Next up, we have Ida. Ida is 37. She's a developmental manager. Now, my first impression of Ida was, wow, her personality is over the top. She is just out there, just giggly and just everything what over the top could be, and gave me slight last season Denise vibes. I could be wrong. I don't know. But Ida says her mom is a single mom, and one thing that her mom told her is don't rely on a man for anything, just be independent. But Ida says she's tired of being this way. She wants to be with the man that has his own, and she's just ready to love because she's tired of just being the overall everything. And you know what? I think your mom gave you good advice because you should do things on your own. You should be independent, but Ida is tired of that. She's just ready to do everything. She wants to be more than just the cool auntie who gives cash apps and gifts on holidays and birthdays. She wants more than that. And Ida also said that she's also had a relationship before from someone who's in the industry, and that relationship ended 2 years ago. She's now looking for a quality relationship, someone who can take her personality, because she says she's very vocal and she's working on her cousin. So, okay, you working on your cousin? This house is a complete different dynamic, and yeah. Okay, so the final lady I have my eye on is Teresa. She's 42, she's an entrepreneur, and she's a comedian. And one of the first things I know about Teresa, not just her hair and her style, is that she's actually, like myself, a full-figured woman. And you don't usually see this on dating reality shows or really any reality shows. Women who are of a certain size make the show, and women who aren't don't. So it was very interesting to see this different type of dynamic. I appreciate it. But she says that when men find out she's a comedian, they laugh at her like, how can I take you seriously and you're a comedian? But I think it really would be vice versa for a man, because if they say you're a comedian, like, how do you really know when they're being serious? So I kind of get that. Now, Teresa said she got married at a young age. She was 19 and stayed married for 13 years. I can relate to that too. And she has a daughter, and her daughter's her world, her daughter's her shadow. So whoever he is going to have to know that her daughter is also number one. But to me, that's what you have to do anyways, whether you're a man or woman, you have children. Your kids should definitely come first. Teresa says that a lot of men she's attracted have been homosexual. I was like, homosexual? Huh? What is that? Well, she described it as a man who wants to come to your house to do laundry, or a man who's like, I like your home better than mine. Now that's different. So maybe the people she attracts on the comedy scene, they might be day to day or house to house or room to room, but that's what she's attracting. She's no longer interested in a homosexual. And girl, I figure, even though I've never gone down that road. Now, Teresa says she's ready to love. She's ready to find her king. You know why? Because she deserves it. And honestly, out of all the casting special men and women who come on here, they've all said they're ready to love for different reasons, this and that. But Teresa's, because she deserves it, was the most genuine that I've heard on the season so far. Now, I really do hope that there's a man in the house, and I think there's two actually, that are attracted to her for her personality and her size, because she's not the typical cookie cutter. And there's a man or two in here that said they like full-figured women, and we'll see if they are attracted to her And I'm really interested in finding who she's attracted with too, since again, that homosexual comment keeps coming up. All right, so those were my picks for this season's Ready to Love. Now, honestly, I think there's more women that's ready to love on the show versus the men. I think most of the men on here, they seem like they're ready to go. Or again, like last season where I thought they were just really ready to date. But I could be wrong. We'll have to see how the show progresses. As far as I'm concerned, I was looking at the men, and normally I have a pick each season, but this season I couldn't come up with a pick. I didn't see anyone right now I was attracted to just by personality and things they presented on first impression. So maybe they'll surprise me as the show goes along. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe to this video, and we'll see you next week for the first episode of Ready to Love Houston. Thank you all again for watching, and as always, live simply, be grateful.